An estimated 30 to 60,000 slaves out of a population of 4 million deserted slavery via the Underground Railroad between 1830 and 1860. It is also true that the Underground Railroad's effectiveness had been exaggerated. A lot of slaves escaped and did not use the Underground Railroad. It is telling, however, that most slaves chose to remain in bondage for life. Isn't that interesting? I didn't. That's okay. Although the term Underground Railroad first appeared in print in the early 1840s as a mechanism for assisting slaves to escape to the North, the phrase was used as early as 1804. General Thomas Boudet, an officer in the Revolutionary War, purchased the slave Stephen Smith and took him to Columbia, Pennsylvania. Smith's mother later escaped and followed her son to Pennsylvania. The Boudets took Smith's mother in just before she was tracked down by her white mistress, and they refused to turn the black female over to her white mistress. In the minds of some historians, this incident was the beginning of the Underground Railroad, which later developed into an organized network of way stations that helped slaves escape from the South to free states and as far north as Canada. The way stations were mainly homes whose residents and helpers were free blacks as well as whites. As the Underground Railroad increased in popularity, other railroad like terminology was added. The escaping slaves were called passengers. The homes were shelters or stations, and those who guided them were conductors. Most of the credit for the success of the Underground Railroad was given to whites who participated in the slave runaway system. The truth, however, is that free blacks of the North and South, as well as the slaves on the plantation who had the courage to seek freedom at the risk of their own lives, deserve the bulk of the credit. Oh, okay. I gotta breathe. I don't know if anybody else gets emotional. I get emotional because I think I think I'm a little too much of an empath, and I'm feeling this. Like I'm imagining how scared they must have been, how hard it was, what they had to do, just to have the things that we take for granted. Like they died to have the chance to read and write, and we got kids that don't want to go to school. And I think that just bothers me. I don't know. It's getting to me a little bit. I apologize. I'm trying not to be emotional, but whew. All right. This says easy come, easy go. Although the value of slaves was tied into the stock market prices, value also depended upon the whims and fortunes of a given slaveholder. Slaves were acquired in an endless number of ways. They were usually bought and sold at slave auctions, but they were also inherited. They were won in lotteries, card games, fights, and court suits. Slaves were also given as birthday, wedding, or Christmas gifts. So they used to give your ancestors away as gifts. But like most things in life that come too easily, there often is little respect or appreciation for it. Senator John Hammond of South Carolina was an enthusiastic slaveholder who acquired black slaves by hook or crook. In 1844, he wrote of two of his slave workers who had just died, saying, quote, "Neither slave was a serious loss. A valuable mule also died." So he compared the slaves to a valuable mule. Got away clean. That's what this was called. An unidentified Virginia slave made out so well in escaping from slavery that he wondered why he had not done it earlier. Having spent most of his life enslaved, he never envisioned himself free. A lot of y'all go through that. You can't envision yourself being free, and I think that's a barrier for a lot of us. On the spur of the moment, while driving a Confederate wagon between hostile lines, he decided to escape to the north. Confederate guards saw him escaping across the battle lines, but could not stop him. The black slave was totally surprised by the success of his escape. It was even more surprised and pleased when the Union Army paid him several $100s for the mules and the wagon he had stolen from the Southern Confederate Army in his escape. So he sold the hundreds of dollars. That was a lot of money back then. Okay, good for him. Good for him. Okay. Now here's some mini facts. This is page 159 of the book Dirty Little Secrets by Dr. Claude Anderson.